Hey everyone, welcome. If you're watching this video, you're interested in improving your video sound, and you are my hero, because good sound can elevate video. You can't have a great looking video that has bad sound. Sound is really, really important. So taking some steps to improve it is essential, and it will elevate your work. So what we have here today is the Rode Wireless Go. Now, this is a new wireless system for capturing audio. And what's amazing about it is that it's so simple and everything is included. If you want to just record vlogs, pieces to camera exactly like this, with this little kit, you can just turn on your two devices, you plug one into your camera, you clip the other one to yourself, the mic is all built in, and you just go and record audio. And that's actually what you're hearing right now. I'm wearing a Rode Wireless Go and it's going into our recorder separately. So you're actually hearing me through the device. And what I want to talk about today is kind of what it is, but also really give you some tips and tricks to understand how best to use the system and some things that you might want to bear in mind. So first and foremost, these are the units. Hopefully you can see this on the top-down view. So mainly the units are insanely tiny and light. They actually only weigh 31 grams each. They're absolutely minuscule. And as I said before, the microphone is built in. So you can see that the microphone is here on the top. So you don't need to buy a third-party microphone to make it work. But what I'll show you is some really clever little systems, clever other little products that you can get. So if you do want to use a third-party microphone, you can, and you can do different things with it basically. Looking at the unit here, you can see that you've got a little screen. And the screen is just telling you the level. It's showing you that you're actually getting some audio through, and it's giving you the battery life of the receiver and the transmitter. Now, there is a little button on the bottom that says dB, and what this one is doing, if I push it, it is a 3-stage button, and it's changing the output volume of the unit. Now, one of the first questions you'll have is like, how do I actually set this up with my camera? What am I supposed to do? So there's a couple of things. First and foremost, you take your receiver or your transmitter, that's this one with the mic on it, and you clip it to the person, and you can have it forwards or you can have it backwards discreetly like I'm wearing here. And what's really sweet is that unlike traditional lavalier mics, which are great and which you can use with this, the unit is very forgiving in terms of placement. Lavalier mics require a little bit of care that you put them in the right place so they don't brush against your clothing and create a rubbing sound. It's really easy to set this up, and it's really less susceptible to rubbing. So you're kind of in good hands. So clip that to your person after obviously turning both units on. And then with this receiver, you can see that they both have these kind of like little sort of crocodile clippy things. Now, I can actually clip that to clothing. What's amazing about this system is because it's so insanely small, it becomes very possible to use the Wireless Go with, you know, kind of action cams and with stabilizer cameras, you know, gimbal style cameras where weight is an issue or where they're very small. So you can actually clip them to like your watch strap, or you could clip them to your clothing on your arm. So if you were holding a camera, you can actually be holding the receiver as well. Obviously, no sleeves today. But let me show you on my A7S. So the way it would work is this is both a clip, but it is also a cold shoe mount. So do you see that? So you can literally put it on top of the unit, totally sweet. And then what we do, if I show you from the side, you've got the output cable, and then that runs into your audio input, which is usually marked mic on your camera. And so that is all you have to do. When you turn these units on, they will automatically pair with one another. But that's all you have to do. You turn them on and in 3 seconds they pair and you're good to go. The battery life is 7 hours on a full charge. They come with USB cables, so you can obviously charge them before the day. But to be honest, like with a 7-hour battery life, if you kind of need to do a little shoot, you actually only need to charge them for a little while to be able to cover sort of 20 minutes, half an hour, or even an hour of shooting. So they don't take much charge to operate. When they are in use, by the way, one little trick, you can see that the display is on here. It will actually power itself off depending on how you have this little setting here. So can you see, if I tap the power button, it will bring the brightness back, and there is a tiny little sunlight indicator. If you tap the power button again, the sunlight will fill in, and that will mean that the LED, the light, the screen will stay on if you want to keep an eye on it during a take. But if you want to conserve battery life, you can turn it so that the little sun is off, and then it will just turn its screen off as it works. It's still working, by the way. It's just turning the screen off to save battery life. You've got it plugged in, it's on, and you can see that you're getting level. The next question is, what settings do I use on my camera? So what I'm going to unfortunately have to tell you to do is not use the auto setting on your camera. And I say unfortunately because in the millions of conversations I've had with people setting up sound, teaching them how to do sound on their cameras, it feels like that's in another step. It's like, oh, I've got to do this other thing. But it's not that different to just setting the focus manually for your videos. It is another step, but trust me, it's worth doing because it will improve your audio. If you leave the auto setting on, what can happen is that if say you're filming an interview like this or a speaking part, and we're in quite a quiet space like we are now, if I stop talking and the auto setting is on, the camera will try and amplify silence. You'll hear this kind of hiss, this sort of rushing hiss sort of sound. And that's not what you want. You don't want the camera to be doing that. You want if things are quiet on set, you want them to be quiet in the actual finished recording. So if you turn the movie settings to manual, you will eliminate that problem. And the one thing that you need to do is you do need to go in to set your audio recording levels. Now, what levels do you set them to? My recommendation is if you look at the little screen on the Rode device, on the Wireless Go, there is a 3-stage volume control. And I can cycle through it like this, and you can see the little kind of triangle filling up. The more full the triangle, then the louder the signal coming out of this device is. You should always try to have the Rode Wireless Go as loud as it can be, and then turn your audio down on the camera as far as you can go. So you can kind of see here on my A7S, I've got the audio recording set to just level 1, but I'm getting sound nice and loud through the unit. And that's what I want, because all camera manufacturers are a little bit different. But if you set the levels to low on the Wireless Go and you turn your camera all the way up to compensate, then it is quite possible that your camera will introduce some hiss and noise into the recording. And that's not what you want either. You don't want that kind of cassette hiss sound. So the trick is make the Wireless Go loud, make your camera setting quiet. That will give you the best signal to noise ratio and the cleanest possible sound. So one extra step to do, but it's not too hard and worth doing. Every time you shoot a shot, check your levels, and if things are a bit loud and you're looking at the meters here and you can see that they're going into red, then just turn down the volume of the Wireless Go. What I have here is called a Smart Lav Plus, and a Smart Lav is very sweet. It is a lavalier mic, which is the sort of tie clip style that you'll see news presenters wearing. But this device can plug straight into a smartphone. So if you have a smartphone with an audio jack, then you go straight in. If you have an iPhone, then you can just use the mini jack to lightning adapter and it works absolutely fine. And it's cool, you can record direct to a phone. However, we want to record direct to our Wireless Go. So what we need to do is just get an adapter cable. This is called an SC4. And you can see that the SC4 has got a grey connector, just as there is a grey connector on my Smart Lav. And what the grey connector refers to is mobile phone or smartphone inputs, because there is a subtle difference between the connector that's on the Wireless Go and that's on a iOS device, which is that there is a third ring. So you need this little adapter cable to convert. And once I connect the two things together, I've now adapted it so that this Smart Lav Plus could go straight into my Wireless Go, and it goes into the little mini jack input there. And then what's amazing is you've got just such an insanely tiny transmitter. I can just put that behind, out of the way. I can tuck this under my clothing, wear the smart lav. And again, try and have it somewhere in your solar plexus, and also do use the strain relief, which is built into it, so that you don't get tugging and pulling. But it's really slick. It means that the Wireless Go is super versatile. You can just use it as is, or you can use it with a smart lav. We also have a headset called a HS2, and that is obviously kind of like the smart lav, but it has this integrated wire headset system, and it works exactly the same way. It has a little mini jack connector. If you can see this, I will, if I can get that in, you just plug it in, and it just replaces the built-in audio. So if you're doing presentations, you know, you're doing things on stage, what's really good is that the headset lav, the HS2, because it's very close to your mouth as you wear the thing, it's just right here, then it's a lot less susceptible to feedback if you're using a PA system, like an amplification system. That is to say, if you have this plugged into a mixer and it's going to, you know, an audience, and you've got big speakers, then you'll probably find that you get a better signal with using a headset and this. You may well be aware that Rode have kind of become the industry standard for making video mics, which is their name for these microphones which go on your camera and you know, are amazing sounding, super convenient devices. Now, what's cool is you can also use video mics with the Wireless Go. So just in the same way that I can connect the adapter on a headset or on the lavalier, I can use a little mini jack adapter and I can plug the video mic's output into the Wireless Go's input. And that means that you can create a wireless mic system. So you could have an operator with a boom, and with a little cable, we do an extension cable called the VC1, which could extend your cable into the Wireless Go, and so that you can be totally hands-free and wireless, moving around a set and then recording dialogue that is being directly beamed to the cameras that you're recording the video with. So be aware that you can plug in headsets, you can plug in lavaliers, and you can also plug in video mics. So the Wireless Go is super versatile in terms of the things that it can accept. Now, the range of the system is 70 meters line of sight. And what line of sight means is that you should be able to get up to 70 meters where the receiver and the transmitter can see each other. And there is literally a direct line of sight between the two units. Now, the way that the units work is that they use Wi-Fi network kind of bands, and they're not actually using a Wi-Fi network in the sense that you don't need a router or anything like that. They all work independently, but the digital kind of area, the sort of the band that they operate within, is the same band that Wi-Fi occupies. And what's great about that is that it's license free no matter where you are in the world. So if you go, you know, you can go anywhere in the world and you don't have some of the issues that you have with radio systems where certain bands are not legal. Wi-Fi is open no matter where you are. But bear in mind that because there are Wi-Fi networks in buildings and in cities and built up areas, what Wi-Fi can do is just reduce that range, the effectiveness. It does not stop them working, and there are Wi-Fi networks in this very room and we're merrily using this device, but it can restrict the range. And so 70 meters is ideal, no Wi-Fi networks, and the units can see each other. Now, what you might find is if you are outside and you get in between the units, you will hear a kind of cut out. They will just go silent, and what you won't get is there's no sort of steady fall off. It will just be on or it will be off. And the instant they see each other again, they reconnect. There's no time delay or anything like that. But what is interesting to note is that the units make use of buildings to operate. So when we're in a room like this, the structure of the room can help propagate the wireless systems that these use to talk to each other. And so, in fact, in a room like this, you do not need line of sight. The room itself, the signal is bouncing all around and is able to find its way to the receiver. So what you might find is, just be mindful, but that actually you'll get better performance in terms of with obstructions in the way if you record inside. Bear in mind that if you record outside, you naturally don't get those kind of reflections. There's no building to help the system get round corners. The other amazing thing about the Wireless Go is the price for the entire system. It is under £200 for the complete set. So you get the transmitter, receiver, interconnects, and you also get 2 furry wind covers and a little neoprene pouch to keep it all in. So it's crazy value for money, and it is proudly made in Australia as well. So the Wireless Go is available now at Scan Pro Video. Please go and check it out. If you have any questions, leave a comment, and happy filming. Thanks so much.